So, I hear we're into some of the same stuff.
You are about to join the revolution.
The time has come. Your world will never be the same. You are listening to a sophisticated conversation.
Greetings and welcome to episode number 46 of Podcast Revolution. I'm your host John, and joining me via Skype from Germany is Tab.
Thanks, Johnny. Wow, you kind of sounded like a douchebag today.
Today is my intense day.
How about no?
Okay, it's that easy. You just
Good.
say no, and it's over.
Great.
So, everybody, this is Podcast Revolution. All right, so simmer down. All right, so, Tab, how are things over in Germany?
Germany's doing fine.
Have you been affected by the Japanese earthquake?
No.
Like, not geographically speaking, but emotionally.
No.
Were you alarmed when there were rumors that the creator of Pokemon had died?
I felt that the fact that was even worth mentioning anywhere kind of irritating.
Okay. So, what are you bringing to the table today, Tab?
Let's see. Well, as the foreign correspondent for the show, if you want, we could discuss briefly and lightheartedly Libya. I've got actually a couple kind of, witticisms, I guess, regarding that.
Okay, you have the floor.
Yeah, so I started watching the news more and more often, mostly because just if I'm cooking stuff in the kitchen, there's a television there, so I just turn it on to a news station.
Like Al Jazeera?
Al Jazeera primarily, actually. There's also we also have CNN and BBC News, but I actually like Al Jazeera for some reason. Maybe just because it has a funky name, because it's Middle Eastern.
Okay.
Although it's the English Al Jazeera, so everybody's like British. So, but I was watching there's the developing problems and conflicts in Libya between the quote unquote government and the protest in the anti-government people, and in this particular situation, the anti-government people are the ones that are the good guys, and that's why the UN's gotten involved. But I was watching a couple days ago, Barack Obama was giving a speech, and I was sitting there watching it with one other person, and I made a remark that I put some at that time I was gonna put some good money down that we were probably gonna end up in a war with Libya, and it's one of those things where it's like my fellow Americans, we're going to accelerate withdrawals from Afghanistan directly into Libya. And I was really at the end of the speech, it was kind of one of those things where the speech you're thinking comments on, not having, troops on Libyan soil. And I was like, oh, that's great. I was going to put money down that they were going to go in, but I didn't want us to go in, And so he starts finishing up with his little, finishing statements, which were very strongly patriotic, American kind of stuff. And I suddenly was like, oh my God, he's going to declare war. Like, any second now, he's going to be like, thank you. Also, we're going to declare war on Libya. But yeah, I think it's nice. It's nice that we're actually involved to some extent in a military exchange that isn't a bullshit war like the past 5 wars we've been in have been.
Wait, what are you talking about? Some people say that we had to be there.
And those people are those people are free to have that opinion.
That's true. So, how's the reaction over there in Germany?
In the UN vote to decide what to do with Libya, Germany actually abstained from voting.
I see.
And it's you can tell that I've actually started watching the news, because I actually point out random bullshit facts like that, which I would not know unless I watched the news.
Interesting. What do you think should happen?
I think what's going on right now is great. It's essentially they're letting the conflict. They're essentially assisting the anti-Gaddafi people, but they're not actually sending troops, which I think is great. It's like, oh, you got Gaddafi, you're sending tanks in? I don't think so. We're gonna bomb those tanks. So they're giving support.
Could you use your foreign friends or foreign friends to try to set up an interview for Podcast Revolution with Gaddafi?
With Gaddafi?
Yes.
No, I don't know any Libyans.
Well, do you know anybody who might know some Libyans?
I don't think so. I don't think I know any pro-Gaddafi Libyans. Or I don't know. I should take a look around. Maybe one of his kids goes to this school. Let me look that up. Maybe there's a Gaddafi here.
Right, or we could try to find maybe one of his old girlfriends or something. Get her on the show.
I'll see what I can do.
All right, that's your job as foreign correspondent.
Hey, I think today I've done more foreign corresponding than I'll probably ever will do again.
Okay, but that's good. Keep up the good work.
Thank you. I will.
But let's see.
What have you got to talk about that isn't boring and not about America?
Well, I have some topics, but some of them will go a little longer. But I figure I could bring one up now, and we can continue it later.
Sure.
Have you seen the video online with the bully in America?
Yes, actually, yeah, where he suplexes the kid.
Yeah, there's a small bully kid picking on this bigger kid, and he punches him in the face, and he keeps picking on him, and the big kid doesn't do anything, keeps telling him to stop or whatever. Then the small kid keeps picking on him, so the big kid just picks him up and slams him down.
Yeah.
And it's that both kids got suspended.
I feel like in a situation like that, the bully should get more punishment. I'm not saying that the guy who suplexed the kid shouldn't get punished just because, violence isn't the answer, but he should definitely kind of be given one of those winks and being like, that was pretty badass, And
I mean, there's video to back him up that he wasn't trying to instigate anything.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing. If they're both just suspended, you know what that says? That says that responding to a bully is as bad as bullying, which is bullshit.
I mean, I don't know how the parents would feel. And if that was your kid, how would you respond?
I would probably give him a stern talking to and be like, violence isn't the answer. But also in a situation like that, as a person who was once a victim of bullying, I'd probably give my kid a high five and be like, you may be suspended, but we're gonna go out to friendlies tonight.
And if your kid was the bully, how would you feel?
Oh, that kid would be in so much shit.
Imagine being that kid. Not only did you get beaten up, and everybody in the world knows about it now, but that's going to be with you for the rest of your life. That you were a jerk picking on someone, and you got beaten up in the process.
Yeah, I guess.
Do you think that's punishment enough for him? Or that's going to stick with him the rest of his life? No,
because what's going to happen is he's going to go to college and be a frat boy, and he's going to use that to get laid somehow. I don't know how, but he'll be that douchebag who's like, hey, baby, just drink some more of this swamp juice or whatever the hell they call it.
Swamp water?
I don't know. I don't care.
Jumbo Joe's favorite drink? But, yeah, so do you think bullying is a problem nowadays?
Yeah, it's still a problem, definitely.
So what can they do to fix it?
I think vigilance is a big part of it, and also I think there needs to be as part of that kind of idea of more vigilance, there needs to be more awareness of it within the student populations. I think there needs to be kind of one of these things of these things count as bullying. If you see someone being bullied, you don't have to directly interfere, but you should definitely because it's one of those things where it's you can't just expect the person who's being bullied to report it. The other people need to also take action, including other kids.
So, I seem to remember an Ask Mrs. Webb segment a couple months ago when you said that a kid being bullied should bring a gun to school.
Okay, so you're making the extraordinarily that's a leap that I don't even think what's his name?
I could play it back if you want me to.
I think that's a leap that not even Scott Bakula can make, of assuming that what I say in the Ask Miss Webb section is in fact at all real opinions.
Well, you said that he should bring an unloaded gun to school, but you should put some bullets in the backpack.
Seriously though, like, not actual advice.
So, but the person who asked that question might have heard it and been like, "That's good advice," and you could have just ruined someone's life.
I'm pretty sure the person would take the advice from the actual Miss Webb, not from us.
You could be surprised. You could be very surprised. So just to make everything clear, you don't recommend that kids respond to bullies by shooting them.
No, I don't think so.
Okay, so keep your guns at home, kids.
Like if I had to choose between like beating the shit out of a bully or shooting them, I would choose beating the shit out of them. Like if I had to choose one of the two, the lesser of the two evils would just hang on them.
What if the bully had a gun too?
Okay, if the bully had a gun, then you're in a completely different situation.
If the bully challenged you to a duel, that's probably when you'd call the police. Oh man,
this is starting to sound more and more like one of those Jim Belushi high school movies.
Oh man, I wonder if people still duel nowadays.
No, they don't.
Well, maybe like in the Wild West or the not so Wild West.
You mean like Wisconsin?
Sure. Or if people still have play Russian roulette.
I don't think anyone's ever actually played Russian roulette.
Did you see the movie Deer Hunter?
Okay, so because it happens in real life.
If Christopher Walken does it, it's real.
Oh, I see.
But one game that I enjoyed playing was Russian roulette with my Nerf gun. But instead of holding the Nerf gun to your side of your head, you held it to your mouth. So if you shot, the bullet went into your mouth.
Huh? That's very Freudian.
All right,
follow-up remark. Freudian psychology is actually complete bullshit, and this isn't like my opinion.
No, everybody, yeah, Carl Jung is better.
Yeah, like people don't seem to understand that. Like some people are of the impression that like when I say that it's my opinion, but it's not. It's just accepted. Like he in terms of like theory and method, he did make some contributions, but actual Freudian theory is complete bullshit. And also the term theory is different than, say, evolutionary theory.
Right.
Or germ theory. Or theory of gravity.
Gravity? That's just a theory.
Yes, it is a theory. You can't be just a theory. That's the best you can get.
What about a law? Isn't a law better than a theory?
Laws aren't like things.
Touché. Looks like it's time for a break. We'll be right back.
Have you recently lost a family member or loved one to a tragic auto collision that didn't need to happen? Or have you been involved in one yourself? Well, guess what? We, the good folks at Autotrader.com, want to help you get the vehicle that's right for you to replace that old, destroyed one. So come on down to Autotrader.com so you don't end up like these schmucks. And, you know what? We're good people at Autotrader.com.
Alright, and we're back. Alright, so Tab, I keep saying I have to make an email. Actually, we do have an email thing, but I don't like it, so I need to do another one. Sound effect going into it. But for right now, I don't know. I'll do breaking emails. There we go. Alright, so will you please indulge us and open up the email for the podcast and read one for us?
Which one is this?
This is, actually, no, we don't have any emails this week. Well, we have one, but I'll read that one. But before we get to that, you know how on the show we usually do the Miss Web questions.
Yeah.
But so I was browsing the Miss Web website, and I found one that looked oddly familiar, and I forwarded it over to you. So take a look at it, and please
let me just
read it on the air.
All right. Here we go. Okay. Dear Miss Webb, my usual friends, the hosts of a popular internet show, have helped me enough with my problems as of late, but I still have issues with my newest relationship, so I thought I would turn to you, as you have been mentioned by them on their show. My new girlfriend Jo, short for Josephina, has been lately making me lots of bread, and I do not like it. She makes it using her yeast infections, and it does not taste as good as store bread. How can I break it to her that I do not like her yeast bread? Or should I just keep my mouth shut and keep eating the bread to keep her happy? Sometimes she has me help her prepare the bread, usually while we're having sloppy sex, and then it gets more than just her yeast. Do you think adding sugar might help with the flavor? I do not like fish bread. Thank you very much. Is it okay if I do a shout out to Podcast Revolution? Maybe sometime I could come on and host your show, Miss Webb. Ramon. Seriously?
Oh my.
This is... Oh dear. John, your remarks?
Has any shame? Ramon, do you have any shame? Please feel free to contact the show continually, and I appreciate. Well, and Miss Webb is a good source, but her answers aren't very good. So I figured we'd step in on this one.
Yeah, we'd have Miss Webb pass the buck to us.
I'm halfway there.
Yeah. Now I was about to say I'm no scientist, but I remember that I am one. I don't think you can make bread with a yeast infection. Like, I don't think that's something you could do.
She might be just lying to him to try to, she thinks she might be turning him on somehow.
That's more troubling.
Yes. Well, no. But it's slightly less troubling. But Ramon, maybe you should just be single for a little while. Enjoy the single life. There's better things than having weird girls that you find on Craigslist.
Yeah, because it seems like every week we get an email from him, and he's got a new girlfriend, and it's just never healthy.
And he has more girlfriends than James Bond. So, but they're not the kind of girls that you'd want, or that James Bond would get.
Or actually girls.
Yes. Yes, that's very true. So, Ramon, stop asking people for advice. Oh, no. Start taking some advice. Tab, lay it straight to him. Give it to him straight.
Ramon, you gotta drop this chick like a bounce check, or whatever the phrase is. Hot potato. I don't know. But you gotta give yourself some you time. You gotta focus on Ramon, and that's on Ramon's terrible problems. So maybe just take a month off. Just a month. You know, since you go through these relationships so fast, your emotional metabolism must be extraordinarily high. So I think a month is sufficient.
Ramon, maybe I suggest you find a hobby that you enjoy.
And by hobby, we mean something normal, like maybe painting landscapes or building birdhouses. Nothing weird like, capturing forest animals and using them as marionettes or something. Like, that's something you shouldn't do. Just to compare things to that. If they sound as weird or weirder than that, probably no. Go online to Wikipedia and look up hobbies. Anything that's there are probably pretty normal.
Oh dear.
Let me just fact check that.
So, Ramon, I really hope we can help you. I hope we're not tearing you apart.
You are tearing me apart!
Yes.
Ramon.
So, and we're sorry we found this on Miss Webb, but we think you secretly wanted us to find it on Miss Webb. So, but I look forward to seeing how she responds. But, alright, so we have another email. Yeah, Tab, are you closed with this one? you have anything else to say to Ramon?
No, but get help.
All right, so I have another email from a distraught listener, and this one is a little less Ramonish. All right, so here we go. Dear podcast revolution. I work at a, let's say, department store, and at my store we have a policy where men are not allowed to have facial hair besides a mustache. I can live with this, but it troubles me that my manager she's a woman and she has a little bit of hair on her. I find it a bit unfair that she can have facial hair and I cannot. How could I bring this up to someone to address the situation? Thank you. M. All right, M. That's unique because there's not really any proper protocol for telling a woman that she has facial hair.
Yeah. What are we talking about here? Like, does she have like a 5 o'clock shadow or something, or what?
It looks like she doesn't have a full beard, but she has more hair that, like, for instance, if he had that much hair, he'd get yelled at.
Yeah, you know what I would do, honestly?
Go ahead. Wait,
Bring
you
that up.
disappeared for a second.
Don't.
Hang on.
Oh.
All right, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. So you said, do you know what I would do? And then you went out.
Yeah, I would broach the breach the subject within the context of the policy. Don't be like, hey, get rid of your facial hair. You shouldn't have facial hair. You're a woman. You should be like, isn't company policy no facial hair? Why do you get to have facial hair?
You don't. You think?
In the sense of if you, as soon as you make it sound like you're a woman and you have facial hair, what's the deal with that? Then you're in trouble. But if you're solely just going, how come you're not allowed to have facial hair and I'm not at this job?
You don't think that shows any lack of tact or anything?
Not particularly. I mean, like it's a reasonable complaint,
I'd say so, but some people could take offense to that. Well, people could take offense to anything.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's one of those things where like she'll probably be offended, but it's not like she can't fire you for that.
True. But she can, like, since she's your manager, she can, like, make your life more miserable than previously.
Well, where did he say he worked? Well,
a department store.
Yeah, you work at a department store. Like, oh no, more hours. Like, do you not need more money?
So, what would you do if you were in this situation? You just say what you said earlier?
No, I'd kill myself because I'm working at a department store.
Fair enough. So maybe you should consider looking for a new job.
Or community college. Maybe get a degree. Have you got your GED yet?
That's a good advice. All right, so yes, just try to do something to remedy your situation. All right, so what time is it? All right, almost time for another break. Not quite there yet. So, Tab, I believe you had something you wanted to say regarding the last episode.
Oh, yeah. So, in the last episode, I made some very opinionated remarks concerning
oral hygiene.
Mouth to genital interaction. Yes, oral hygiene. And while I still stand by them, I feel like they were very much opinions and not something that I should be trying to kind of present to the general public. And I apologize for such inappropriate topics being used to sully the quality of this show.
Yeah, we took a major hit this week thanks to you. We got so many complaints and people saying they'd never listen again. So, but if you can make it all better, then maybe they'll come back. But no, I accept your resignation.
What?
Wait, isn't that what you just said? You'll never come back to the show?
That's not what I said.
Well,
I need this job.
all right, well, you're punished. You're being demoted from foreign correspondent to foreign intern.
Foreign intern. Great.
So that's how it stands right now.
Okay. Just let me know when I've earned the privilege to be the foreign correspondent again.
Oh, you'll know.
Good.
All right. So I think it's time for another break. We'll be right back.
Oh my god, it's my son's birthday, and I didn't get him anything. He hardly even knows it's his birthday, and I'm like hundreds of miles away from him because he's at school. What should I do? What can I do to get out of this sticky situation?
Well, there is a website called AmericanGreetings.com.
What? That sounds really familiar.
Yeah, well, all you have to do is go onto this website and you can send these things called e-cards to anyone.
Wow, that sounds too easy.
All you have to do
Alls I have to do
is
Alls
all you have to do is start a free trial.
Alls I have to do.
Stop. All right,
Did they say alls on the card? Because that's amazing. My son will learn a lot in college. Wow, thank you, Frenchie, so much. Thank you. AmericanGreetings.com. I love you. I wonder if it says that on any cards.
All right, and we're back. Wasn't that quite the hilarious commercial?
Yes.
Yes.
I particularly enjoyed the spoken parts.
All right, so here's a question for you. Let's say you are going shopping, going to the mall or whatever, and you have to park pretty far away. But that's fine. You park, you're walking in. Then you see somebody park in the handicap spot, and the person looks absolutely fine. Walks out of the car, jumping for joy or whatever, running in, buying something. How do you feel about that?
I hope their car gets towed.
Okay. So, what if they do have a legitimate handicap, but you just can't tell right away?
What do you mean I can't tell?
Well, let's say they have a heart condition where if they walk too far, it acts up on them. Or it only happens sometimes.
I'm no doctor, but I don't think that's a thing. Because I think if you have heart problems, you wouldn't be driving a car.
It could be. But, so how do you feel when you see, how do you feel about handicap spots in general?
I mean, the thing that I find irritating are people who are really obsessed with getting a spot that's close to the store. Because here's the thing, that's probably 20% of the causes of obesity. People are like, oh, I don't want to walk 200 feet. It's like, what are you, a lazy fuck? You're gonna be walking around inside the store unless you don't want to use fucking obesity scooters, which aren't intended for that purpose, but that's what they're being used for.
That's very true. That is true. So, how do they have handicap spots in Germany just like here?
There really aren't. I haven't seen any outdoor parking lots. There's parking garage. There's parking garages and stuff. I haven't been inside them because I'm not driving anywhere.
True. Okay. But have you ever parked in a handicap spot really quick because you had to run inside and do something?
No, because I don't want to get my car towed.
Man, if you saw someone do that, you wouldn't care for them.
No.
Fair enough. All right. Well, that's about.
Well, I gotta say though, it's my grandfather. He has some balance issues. He's got Parkinson's. Okay. So when he walks, it's very, very slow. So they've got but my grandmother's can drive fine. He can't because he's also legally blind. Not in the sense that he can't see, he just can't see well enough to drive. But so they have a handicap ticket. So every once in a while, I have to drive him somewhere, and we get to use that thing. It's kind of cool, Although most of the time, the places we go, we can park close to the building anyway without the handicap,
Yay! Yes. You still there?
Yeah.
Okay. So, yeah, handicapped spots, they can be helpful. But some people take advantage of them, and they probably shouldn't.
And I mean, it's one of those things, like, let's say you're in a situation where you need a handicap permit for a little while. Once you don't need it anymore, it's illegal to use it.
True. Actually, I got a question for you. How would you feel? You see someone getting out of a car, and they look absolutely fine. They're doing jumping jacks when they get out or whatever. So you immediately don't like the person, but then they go to the other side of the car, and they pull out their kid who's like a paraplegic. Would you feel bad for judging that person for a second?
Not really. I mean, I'm not really in that situation very often. I mean, you're not paying attention to the people who are parking in places.
All right, fine.
I'm not obsessive compulsive about handicapped people like you are.
Oh, good for you.
All right, this topic is over.
Good.
All right, next issue, which I don't know if you're aware with the Bruins Montreal Canadiens debacle that happened a couple weeks ago. Are you?
No.
All right, so I'll run the situation by you. All right, so you know how hockey's a collision sport where they hit each other. So
yes.
A Bruins player, Zdeno Chara, hit a Montreal Canadiens player, and anywhere else on the ice, it would have been a normal hit. But this was right in front of between the benches, where when there's the benches, there's no glass there. And then glass comes up again, so there's a bar where the glass starts up, and he hit the player, and the player's head hit the stanchion, the turnbuckle, right where it happens. So he fell down and he was hurt, and it looked like he was dead on the ice, and they pulled him off on a stretcher, and they said he had a fractured vertebrae and a severe concussion. So then everyone in Montreal freaked out, and they all called the police on the Bruins player. So, and they called the police so much that they had to shut down 911 in Montreal. So, before I go any further, how do you respond to that?
Well, there's a lot of things to respond to in that whole debacle, as you put it. First off, why is there not glass between the benches? I'm not entirely clear on that.
No. There's glass between the benches, but like right at the bench, there's no glass, so players can hop in and out.
Right. I don't know. One sec. Let me close my window.
Alright, but how do you feel about fans of a team calling the police?
That's not their responsibility. That's bullshit. Like that'd be like calling the police because a football player got tackled. That's assault. Call the police. Like it's a contact, as you said, it's a contact sport.
Like, but it's ridiculous that they'd call the police, and so many of them, and it was public officials and radio announcers and everybody urging people to call the police.
Oh dear.
All right, it gets worse. The police actually opened an investigation on him.
What?
So that's using.
What is there to investigate? They have video evidence of what happened, and nothing happened. They were playing hockey.
And they're using tax dollars to investigate this. How would you feel if in Germany, if in a soccer match, someone got hurt and they called the police and they started using your tax dollars to investigate it?
Well, I don't pay taxes here.
Well, if you did,
it would be bullshit.
All right, and then the Bruins player didn't get suspended because it wasn't a malicious hit; it was just a normal hit that just had a bad injury. So, and the league didn't suspend him or fine him. So then the Canadiens owner made a statement, and then the Air Canada, a company that sponsors the league in a lot of ways, threatened to pull their sponsorship because of it. So I don't think it's their place as a sponsor to tell the league how to suspend its players or how to police its actions.
But it is the advertiser's right to just spot for reasons it wants or be critical.
Right, but
I'm not saying that they're right, but they're allowed to do that.
Okay. But all right, so get this. So if you had a severe concussion and a fractured vertebrae, how long do you think you'd be out of action?
Like a fractured vertebrae?
Yes.
I don't know, at least a couple months.
Yeah, and severe concussion. There's some players in the league that have mild concussions who miss an entire year. So, but this player, everyone thought he was dead. Then they thought he was paralyzed. The next day he was up walking around, and now they're saying he'll be back in like 3 weeks. So that has a lot of people speculating that the team just embellished the severity of his injuries to get the Bruins player in more trouble. What do you think of that? As a non-sports fan, what do you think of that?
I mean, it's just a fracture, which isn't terrible. You know, it's one of those things where, like, as long as it's given some time to heal and isn't stressed much more, which admittedly kind of weakens my argument because he's playing hockey. I mean, I feel like I'm not an expert on sports injuries, but I feel like a lot of times, like, if you get, like you said, people get minor concussions or out for a year. Is that because they actually need to be out for a year, or because they still get, like, their salary or whatever?
Well, no, they still get the syndromes. It lingers with them, so they stay out. Yes.
But I mean, I don't know. This isn't something I know much about or give a shit about.
Right. Well, it seems a little fishy. I'll leave it at that.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So, anything? Do you know of any controversies that spark your interest?
Controversies.
Oh, actually, here's one that is of interest to everybody who uses the internet. They have finally approved the .xxx domain.
Who exactly is the they in that sentence?
It's the International Committee for something networking, blah, blah, blah. But it's some international committee, and that finally approved that. Like, I think all porn sites are going to be on .xxx pretty soon. So, and they did that as a way to make it so parents can say, block any website that ends in .xxx, and it's over.
But here's my thing. Is there any way they can enforce that? Like, what's going to stop, PennIsland.com from just still being PennIsland.com?
That's a good question. I unfortunately do not know the answer. But, well, let's say hypothetically, hypothetically that it works and that everybody complies. How do you feel about that?
I don't know. I don't have any issues with it. Should I?
Well, do you think it's a good thing? Do you think it's a bad thing? Do you feel strongly either way?
I think the idea of doing that, so that way you can just put a neat blocker and go block everything that ends with .xxx, and that would completely protect your children from pornography. That would be awesome. But I mean, there's so much like pseudo pornography and softcore stuff. So
true. But and there's also, well, some people are giving the argument that this is just making a red light district for the internet as .xxx, but my argument is the internet's already a red light district for everything porn. What's that?
Seriously, like, hell, go to Google.
Hang on, you're breaking up.
Images. Search.
All right, hang on. I'll wait.
Daphne Scooby-Doo naked, and there you go. Well.
All right, so he was breaking up a little bit, but basically what you're saying is if you go to Google Images and type in Scooby-Doo Daphne naked, there'll be plenty of images to show that the internet's already disgusting.
Yes.
Okay, fair enough. Oh my. Yeah.
You're making my dick wet!
Me or the internet?
No. Oh, Tab.
Oh, Kyle. But yes. Alright, looks like it's time for our final break, and then we'll get into recommendations.
Yo, one, my boys and I, we gotta be watching the movies, and we can't watch them because they're not on the telly, so we gotta go put on the Netflix, and we're like, whoa, there's so many choices, man, and me and my gun, we go one, and then we watch them, and we put up the reviews and say, 5 stars, super movie, Netflix, 5 stars, do it.
Alright, And we are back. Wasn't that another fantastic commercial? All right, so for those of you who this is your first time listening to the show, which I'm sure is nobody, you might not know that we end all our episodes with a recommendation segment. We also need a sound for that.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Yeah, so we'll do a contest for all our listeners. First person to send me a good, or whoever sends me the best one, that will be our new recommendation intro. So I look forward to getting none. Just like the emails. Maybe Ramon will send us a good sound clip.
Oh my.
That could be his hobby. He could become a sound engineer. Ramon, does that tickle your fancy? All right. So this week we decided we're going to talk about ways to keep in touch with other people. So I'll go first. I'm still old school, and I use the AOL Instant Messenger, also known as AIM. And it's a pretty useful tool. Not a lot of people use it anymore, but there's a new feature on it where you can incorporate the Facebook chat into it. So pretty much, if I ever want to talk to anybody who's on Facebook, I just talk to them through AIM. So it's pretty handy. I don't need to go onto my browser, go to Facebook to talk to people. I just do it through AIM and talk to them in the normal AIM window. So that's a good way to keep in touch with people because a lot of people use Facebook a lot, and I know some of them. So that's my recommendation. Take it or leave it. Tab?
Well, keeping in touch with people, I recently read an article that was essentially commenting on how people are very rarely using phones anymore to call people. And it was making some very...
Hang on, you're breaking up.
Kind of drastic claims that I honestly don't believe about how most people don't call people ever anymore. Okay? But most people don't use phones to call people anymore. They just use it to text, and the idea of calling someone is kind of going out of vogue, and I feel that's complete bullshit. As someone who, when I did own a cellular phone, I actually had it set up so it could not receive texts. I don't understand the point of it at all. It's one of those things where, it's like the whole idea is you use text for when you don't have the time or you're not in the right place to make a phone call. If you're in that situation, don't make a phone call. Don't do anything. You can call them later. I think the instant gratification idea that's so is such bullshit. But let's not get into that. That's just my recommendation: is using phones to call people.
That's a good thing because I like to talk to people on the phone, especially when you're driving. In some states it's still legal to talk on the phone while you're driving, and I do that all the time to pass the time.
Most states will allow it if you're using a headset.
Yeah, but I know a lot of states, including New Hampshire, it's illegal to text while driving, which a lot of people break that rule. It makes sense. A lot of people break it, but it does make sense, especially now with smartphones where it's harder to type.
And again, that's seriously just a situation where just call them. Just call them. Like,
not very hard.
Yeah. And honestly, though, like what I've done before to get around, because when I did have a phone, I didn't have a headset. You just use speakerphone. You make the call, you put it in your lap, and you have your conversation.
Yep, that's also a good tool. And my phone does have a feature where I can talk to it, and it transcribes what I write, and then it can send it as a text. But there's not really a point when I can just call somebody.
Exactly.
But I do make use of that sometimes if I absolutely have to.
I feel like nowadays people rarely use phones to have conversations. They might call someone to set something up, but again, that's why texting's taking over, is because no one's using phones for what they used to be used for.
Right.
Which is to have conversations.
And it's funny that it costs, like, if you don't have an unlimited texting plan, it could cost 15 cents per text. It doesn't actually cost them that much to do it. Like
yeah.
The cell phone companies that make a fortune just on texting alone. It's pretty insane.
And honestly, like, most phone plans you can get have something where at some point or another, like, either in the evenings or on weekends, you have infinite minutes. So...
Oh boy. But pretty soon, TV, internet, phone, cable, it'll all be one thing. That you just...
like with me, when I had phones, all I used it for was making and receiving phone calls. Like, I don't want anything else on my phone. Like, the appeal of having, like, because the thing is, as soon as you start putting more things onto your phone, its battery life goes to hell.
This is true.
I want a phone that I turn it on, and then a week later, I haven't used it for any calls yet, so its battery's fine.
I'd love my phone like that, but I actually have a small computer for a phone, pretty much.
What is it? Is it a Android or an iPhone?
Android,
yeah.
Droid X, which I like it, but I use it for more than just phone calls. I use it to stay entertained at work. It's a good office tool, especially when you're.
Don't you have like a computer at work? Aren't you in insurance?
Yes, but the computer, a lot of websites are blocked, and you don't have full access to everything. So on a phone, I can do whatever I want.
Right.
And I could keep in touch with friends while I'm working, not while I'm working, but while I'm at work, like on break.
Right.
But yes, so that's that. All right. And anything else you'd like to say in closing out this episode?
No, not really.
All right then. Well, say your goodbyes.
Be smart, everybody.
All right, everybody. You heard it. You heard it here first. Well, looks like this has been another successful episode, and we will see you in the not too distant future. Das Vidania.
Tschüss.